Allah, He mentions as a proof. It is only the shaitan. إِنَّمَا ذَلِكُمُ الشَّيْطَانِ يُخَوِّفُ أَوْلِيَاءَ فَلَا تَخَوْفُهُمْ وَخَوْفُونِ إِن كُنتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. It is only the shaitan that suggests to you the fear of the people. It is only the shaitan that suggests to you to fear his awliya, his friends, to fear human beings, to fear his supporters, to fear his friends, the disbelievers. So fear them not, but fear me if you are truly disbelievers. This also is from the affairs of sinful fear. Don't fear them. Fear Allah. They don't have no ability. They only have the ability of what Allah has given them the ability to do. Allah mentions, فَلَا تَخْشَوْهُمْ وَخْشَوْنِي. Allah says, so fear them not, but fear me. فَلَا تَخْشَوْهُمْ وَخْشَوْنِي. وَقَالَ تَعَالَى فَلَا تَخْشَوْهُمْ وَخْشَوْنِي. So fear them not, but fear me. Fear them not, but fear me. So this verse, it indicates that if a person is a complete believer, he would not fear from anyone other than, he would not fear from anyone or anything with a fear that will cause him to disobey his Lord. Because that only occurs due to weakness of iman. By you fearing somebody else, fearing a human being, you fear what somebody gonna say, you fear what somebody gonna do, right? No. They only can do what Allah has decreed, what Allah has put forth for them to do. Everything is in the hands of Allah. Nothing happens except that Allah willed it. Nothing happened except that Allah decreed it. Allah mentions, فَلَا تَخْشَوْهُمْ وَخْشَوْنِي. Don't fear them, so fear me. So fear them not, but fear Allah. So this verse indicates that if a person is a complete believer, he would not fear from anyone or anything with a fear that would cause him to disobey his Lord, because that only occurs due to weakness of faith and lack of knowledge, and in most cases, a lack of trust in Allah. Lack of trusting in Allah. Allah mentions in Surah 2, I mentioned these ayahs, I'm going to give you the proof. I mentioned the first one, إِنَّمَا ذَلِكُمُ الشَّيْطَانِ يُخَوِّفُ أَوْلِيَاءَ فَلَا تَخَوْفُهُمْ وَخَوْفُونِي إِن كُنتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. This is in Surah Ali Imran, Surah 3, Ayat 175. Surah 3, Ayat 175. It is only the shaitan who suggests to you the fear of his awliya, the fear of his friends and his supporters, his awliya. Those who are with the shaitan suggests to you, he whispers to you to fear these individuals, to fear these people. Right? He makes suggestions that he make you scared and make you think that these people have power. Then I mentioned, فَلَا تَخْشَوْهُمْ وَخْشَوْنِي. This is in Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah 2, Ayat 150. So fear them not, but fear me.
Oh, that's a different surah.
Yeah. Surah Baqarah, Surah 2, Ayat 150. فَلَا تَخْشَوْهُمْ وَخْشَوْنِي. So fear them not, but fear me. Surah Al-Ma'idah, Surah 5, Ayat 3. Allah says, فَلَا تَخْشَوْهُمْ وَخْشَوْنِي. So fear them not, but fear me. So fear them not, but fear me. Allah mentions it also in Surah Al-Ma'idah, Surah 5, Ayat 44. فَلَا تَخْشَوْا النَّاسِ وَخْشَوْنِي. Therefore fear not men, but fear me. Don't fear men, don't fear human beings. Don't fear the people, but fear me. This also has an aspect of relying on Allah, putting your trust in Allah, depending on Allah. As these people in Philistine and Palestine and in other places, right? That which is coming out of their mouth is Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel. Allah is sufficient for them. Allah is sufficient for us, and we put our trust in Him. They are not fearful or afraid, right? They're not fearful or afraid. They're not fearing them. They fear Allah. As you find them saying this, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel. This is a level of iman. So there's natural fear. as I want to get back to, because I think I made a mistake. This natural fear, it is a person's fear of, that's one. As I mentioned, fearing a natural fear is that you what? Fearing a pit bull or a dog or somebody trying to attack you. So you trying to get away from it. This is a natural fear. This is khashya, I believe. A khawf, I think. Let me get back to it.
Fearing Allah based upon knowledge. And then khashya is like natural fear, like when you see something scary.
So now, a snake, like a snake, or other than that, like you see a scorpion or somebody trying to bite you, even a mosquito, you're like, So it is mentioned. This is a permissible fear. This is a permissible fear. Right? This is a permissible fear. As Allah He mentions in the Quran in Surah I forget the verse that is in, but Surah Al-Qasas. Al-Qasas, ayat 18. Al-Qasas, ayat 18, where Allah He says, فَأَصْبَحَ فِي مَدِينَةٍ خَائِفًا يتقرب. So he became afraid, looking about in the city. يتقرب. So he became afraid, looking in the city. I believe it's I think it's talking about in the story of Musa. I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And another ayah in Surah Al-Qasas, the same surah. فَخْرُجْ مِنْهَا خَائِفًا يَتَقَرَّبُ يَتَرَقَّبُ or يَتَرَقَّبُ نعم. So he escaped from there looking about in a state of fear. Fearing somebody gonna, maybe you just gonna stand there and just get shot? I'm running. We got 3 minutes, inshallah. A few minutes. So it is mentioned here, I believe in the story of Musa. So also Musa informed us that it is mentioned also in Surah Al-Qasas, the same surah. قَالَ رَبِّ إِنِّي أَخَافُ أَن يُكَذِّبُونَ. He said, my Lord, really, I fear that they will try to kill me. Or I fear that they will belie me. I fear that they belie me. They will belie me. They will, what's belie? Belie meaning like they will betray me or something like that. I fear that they will betray me. So this natural fear, because it is from the natural disposition of a human being. As we finish up with this point, natural fear, this natural disposition is a disposition of a human being. It is his nature, such as fearing a wild beast, being cautious of an enemy, or other than that. But if this natural fear leads to sin, it is then considered sinful sin, or sinful fear. If it leads to polytheism or reaches its level, it then becomes polytheistic fear. And we ask Allah for His wellness and protection from everything which does not please Him. And this is what we end with. From this aspect of fear. From this aspect of fear. أقسم خوف الأربع. And we'll stop right there, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم. والحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه كما يحب ربنا ويرضى. وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. Okay, so we will mention this aspect of, do we get into the categories of fear? We're going to get into Aqsamu Khawf al-Arba'. There are 4 categories of fear. 4 categories of fear. The first of them is devotional fear. Devotional fear. Meaning that the person fear Allah alone. That the person, he fears Allah alone. Without any partners. This type of fear is an internal worship. It's internal. It has scared to disobey Allah, and you're scared of His punishment. You're scared to disobey Allah, and you're scared of the punishment of Allah. You're scared of His punishment. So this type of fear, it is worship associated with the heart. This type of fear has to do with the heart. The first aspect of this category has to do with the heart. This is a devotional fear. This aspect consists of worship. Worshiping Allah with the heart, which Allah has ordained us to worship Him with. As Allah He mentions in the Quran in Surah Al-Rahman. Allah mentions in the Quran in Surah Al-Rahman, وَلِمَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ جَنَّتَانِ وَلِمَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ جَنَّتَانِ. But for him who fears the standing before his Lord, there will be two gardens. There will be two gardens for that person. Surah Al-Rahman, I believe it's Surah 55, Ayat 46. For the person who fears Allah, it will be two gardens for that person. But for the individual who fears the standing before his Lord, there will be two gardens, meaning in paradise. So this is the affair of the heart. And also, as Nabila, she asked me, does it have anything to do with what? Does it have anything to do with just fearing what? Just fearing His punishment? Yes. This fear of Allah has to do with His punishment as well. Fearing the punishment of Allah. Fearing this, and also fearing the standing before Allah. Fearing the punishment of Allah. And this is that which is within the heart. Another proof, as we want to mention, as Allah He says in Surah Al-Naziyat, Surah 40, Ayat 41. Surah 40, Ayat 41, Allah He mentions, وَأَمَّا مَا خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ وَنَهَى النَّفْسِ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ فَإِنَّ الْجَنَّةَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَىٰ. Surah 40, Ayat 41, Allah He says, but as for him who feared standing before his Lord, and he restrained himself from impure evil desires and lust, verily paradise will be his abode. Behind that, yeah. But as for the one who feared the standing before his Lord, and he restrained himself from evil desires and lusts, verily paradise will be his abode. Verily. For sure, without a doubt, paradise will be his abode. For the one who restrained himself, for the one who controlled himself. He controlled his lust and his desires for the sake of Allah. Because he what? He feared the punishment of Allah. He feared standing in front of Allah. This is the first aspect. Allah mentions, F1. So it is mentioned this type of fear, which urges the individual to perform good deeds. Right? This type of fear of Allah, it pushes the person to perform righteousness. Because he what? He fears the standing before his Lord. He fears the punishment of Allah. So this pushes him to do good deeds. This pushes him to do good deeds and to avoid or to leave off the evil deeds. To avoid the evil deeds or to leave off the evil deeds. So this type of fear, as we mentioned, it what? It causes him to perform good deeds on account of his what? Fear of Allah. On account of his punishment. This causes the person to perform good deeds, and it also causes the person to what? To avoid and leave off the unlawful. And leave off the unlawful, as we mentioned. And this particular aspect of fear of Allah fears Allah. He worships Allah. Right? This causes him, it pushes him to do good. And it also pushes him to stay away from that which Allah has forbidden. And it also pushes the person to love Allah. To love Allah. It pushes the person to love Allah. And it also pushes a person to hope and a reward from Allah. Fearing the punishment of Allah and hoping in his rewards. Fearing the punishment of Allah and hoping in his reward. Hoping that Allah will reward you on account of your obedience to him. On account of your what? Obedience to him, and you're leaving off of that which he has prohibited. And doing that which he has enjoined and made compulsory upon you. Whoever fears Allah and yet still falls into disobedience. Whoever fears Allah but he still falls into some disobedience, then indeed his fear of Allah is deficient. It is weak. It is weak.